So thank you guys for joining my focus group. Uh, this focus group is going to be on the topic of the Redskins name and the fact that they are now looking to change it. With me is Adrian,
Going on.
Andrea,
Hello.
and Savvy.
Hello.
All right, so our first question will be: since the early 2000s, the Redskin name has been a hot topic in the sports world. With the tradition of the Redskins being one of racist origins, with the original owner refusing to draft black players and was the last owner to allow his team to integrate, many consider their name to be a symbol of a bygone era in the sports world. How do you feel about the Redskin name? So, Andrea, let's start with you.
Okay. I feel like it should definitely be changed. It causes a lot of problems for people. It's definitely, got very racist, you know, tones to it. And yeah, I don't see a problem with them changing it.
Okay. Um, how do you think it's appropriate? They've been requested to change their name before by like actual Native Americans, like organizations comprised of Native Americans, and every time they've refused to back down. But now with Nike pulling all their merchandise, do you think it's just them more backing down to other corporations that have more control than them, or is it them like them looking at the social landscape?
Um, I, I think it's definitely probably about money, and I like most things are. Um, it, in my opinion, does that matter? But if it's still going to be changed, not exactly. Kind of sad, but
Okay. Adrian, how do you feel about the Redskin name?
I think it's obviously a racial slur. You know, back then it might have been normal. It might have been fun to use that name, but nowadays, especially with cancel culture going on, it's definitely a no-no. So I think the updating of the name is definitely fitting in 2020.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Okay.
Also, going back to the other question you asked about Nike, yeah, I think money talks. That's pretty much the answer about that. Definitely. Um, if it wasn't hurting them financially, they wouldn't have done anything because that's just how corporations are. Even Nike doing that because they probably know that it's going to hurt them financially if they associate themselves with something racist. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right, Savvy. How do you feel about the Redskin name, especially since you are of Native American descent?
I definitely agree that it should be changed. It's not good to have like a racial slur be your team name. I don't think it's very kind. The whole Nike thing, I think it's a lot due to the money, and I don't think they would have really put much more effort into changing it if it wasn't for this kind of push, and definitely with everything going on in current times. But I think it's a good idea to change it.
Okay. So now that we're on the topic of actually like how everyone feels with the name change, there's a slew of other teams that have names not as bad as the Redskins, but similar in using Native American heritage for their names. We have the Cleveland Indians, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chicago Blackhawks. Of those three, the Cleveland Indians notoriously had the red-faced chieftain as their logo until actually a couple years ago. I think like maybe 2014. I think is around the time they changed it. Do you think? And the Cleveland Indians just announced actually right after the Redskins announced it that the Cleveland Indians are going to consider changing their name as well. Do you think these three teams should actually consider the name change and move towards something else?
If there's definite pushback to have them changed, I would definitely do it. Like if people find offense in those names, I can't speak for myself because I'm in that demographic that would be affected. Um, I definitely feel that we're all moving towards a different time. You know, um, we got to be more conscious of other people, and if they want to change it, I support it.
Okay. Adrian, how do you feel about these teams and whether or not their names should be changed?
So, as of the names, they're not necessarily blatantly racist, but some of the images are kind of, I guess. I kind of, I didn't find it racist. I mean, that's just me personally. So again, it is like a popular opinion. So like it all comes down to that, like whether or not a bunch of people find it bad or not. In that case, because I think it's not too obvious the uh the racism there. So
Okay.
uh yeah, there aren't necessarily yeah, it's not really especially the Blackhawks. Like I don't know where that the racism is there. But yeah, I don't see anything bad about that. Maybe the update of the image of the chieftain. Yeah, maybe. But other than that,
Okay. And lastly, Savvy, how do you feel about this?
The change in image is definitely a really, really good start. Uh, the names aren't definitely are not as bad as the Redskins. If they want to change it, that would be fine. I don't have like a huge problem with them, but I understand that some people do and some people might still have a problem with them. But the name change, not the name change, the image change is definitely a really good start.
Okay. So you'd be more comfortable with the team changing their image if it was offensive rather than the name. Like the Blackhawks, they have a Native American in what looks to be like war paint and stuff. And then other people have proposed like just a literal black hawk as their logo.
And that would be fine too,
Okay.
as a literal hawk.
Okay. All right. And so I think since we're on the topic of logo and name changes, I think to finish this off here, we'll go with this last question. One name that has actually gotten a pretty large following, even in the early 2000s when the Redskin name change was proposed the first time, it was called the Red Tails, and the African American quarterback for the Washington Redskins, Dwayne Haskins, has personally come out and said, I would like to play. I wouldn't mind that being the team name and playing under the team, the Red Tails." Um, and it pays homage to the first African American Air Force Regiment. So it kind of is the complete opposite of the Redskins, and it would be a total change in the team culture as of late. How do you feel about this name, the Red Tails, replacing the Redskins?
I wouldn't mind. I mean, I like that they're trying to spin it to a new like positive name. If there was a way they could, like try to spin it positively to a different name that could be like help like more positive towards the Native American community that they've been hurting for so long, like that would be cool too. But like I have no problems with the name. I mean, it sounds great. It's kind of almost the same amount of syllables and
Okay.
probably look good on merchandise.
Adrian, how do you feel about the Red Tail name?
yeah, honestly, that's a positive movement. I think so. It's a thumbs up in my book. I didn't even know about the 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 meaning behind the name, but if it is, yeah, if it is that, what you said, then that's definitely cool. So yeah, I would love that. I would love to
There,
see that.
there is also the old Washington Generals baseball team because they were originally
Mhm.
the Senators, and then they changed to the Generals. They've also said they're willing to sell their team name to the Redskins. Would that be another name that you'd be more comfortable with?
I mean, that's just it's just a name that I would know
Yeah.
because I know that baseball more than football. But yeah, that would be cool. Anything would be cool. It's just cool to see people accepting change and just
Okay.
listening to people because that's definitely what we're all about.
All right. And Savvy, how about you? The Red Tail name or the General name? How do you feel about either of those being the new name?
They both would be a really good option. The generals would be better to be a more neutral based name, and but the red tails, that would be also very good since it's a positive spin on a different culture or on different people. And I think that maybe a lot of names have um
Too much
the way
ties?
yeah too much ties to a certain group of people or a certain culture and it's really good to do it in a positive way and like better show the positive sides of those people and those cultures. But I do see how it might not make everyone happy in every single situation, and someone might always find a problem with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do think it's a step in the right direction, picking a more positive name.
All right. I could definitely see that. All right. I think that's everything. I want to thank you guys for helping me with this focus group, and I thank you for your time. And I hope you guys have a great day.
You too. Man.
You did. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.